Alright, figured it's time for a little update on the toolbox. It's been a couple years and a lot of stuff has changed in this box. Mostly organization and some few new tools too. Socket drawer has changed a lot. These guys are all 1/2 inch. They're metric. They are Jet brand, which I believe is a Canadian thing. I'm not 100% sure, but I have not seen these in very many toolbox tours. I'd say they're probably equivalent to like gray pneumatic. They're not bad. They're pretty cheap, and they do their job for impact sockets. I got some Capri 3/8 mid-length in there. Bunch of random wobblies. I just picked up these spring universals. Those are made by Titan. Got a couple snap-on wobbly adapters, and I got the whole like snap-on adapter like kit, like 3/8 to 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch to 3/8 and stuff like that. Torques. I got Torques in this one and magnetic 1/4 inch bits or 1/4 inch sockets. The Torques are all from a OTC kit, except I've replaced 3 of those are snap-on, and then my impact ones here are Sunex, and I broke the T50. I think it's a 50. I use that on seat belts. Yeah, it's a 50 all the time, and I broke it, and I could not for the life of me get the warranty or figure the warranty out, so I just bought a snap-on because I use that all the time. Got a few 12 points. Oh, I bought these by mistake. These are Pittsburgh. I didn't know they were 12 points, so then I was like, well, I better get a matching set in metric because these ones, the chrome ones, are standard. So I picked up some Tecton 12 points. Here, these are all just 3/8 impact. They're all Jet as well, except for I have on the ends, I've got on the metric side, I've got a 21 millimeter snap-on deep and shallow. Standard 1/4 inch chrome sockets. Those are just Capri. I got my Lyle tap sockets, and then those are gear wrench mid-length 1/4 inch standards. I lumped all my extensions into one bin. What else do I have in here? Oh, I bought some of these Performance Tool flip sockets. Again, I didn't know these were 12 points, so I don't know how much I'll use those. A few snap-on extensions, few just random ones from kits over the years. 3/8 wobblies. The shallows are gear wrench, and then the deeps are Sunex. And I bought, oh yeah, this one's a Sunex. I bought a 21 because I needed, that's a common size, and it didn't come in the gear wrench kit, so I bought a 21 shallow Sunex. Oh, and then those guys, lots of people probably haven't seen these. This is actually the most common one here for Dodge trucks. It's a antenna socket that spins a nut off that holds the antenna onto the fender. 1/4 inch gear wrench, impact wobblies. I've got a 10 millimeter kit there from gear wrench in the back. It's got all the 10 millimeters on it. And then I have some gear wrench spline drive. What is this? Why don't I remember this socket? Well, apparently I have 2 of these sockets, I guess. That's like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, I think. Some more snap-on extensions. Those are 1/4 inch, and then underneath I've got the 1/4 inch wobblies. All these 3/4 inch sets are snap-on. Deep, mid, and shallow, just the regular sockets, not the FDX or anything. And then I've got some super shallow gear wrench metric and some gear wrench universals. And then in these kits are hex sockets. One is standard and one is metric. I don't use hex very much, so I don't need a big set. And then this kit is extra deep sockets. They are 3/8 drive, but they do come with an adapter, 1/4 inch to 3/8. There's a part number there if you're interested in those. They, I think when I got them years ago, it was maybe $100. I'm sure they've gone up in price like everything else. Ratchets. I got a lot more ratchets. Kind of turned it into a collection. So back there I got a couple roto heads. The green one's a snap-on, and then I've got the KTC 3/8. I've got a stubby flex head tone, which I wanted a stubby flex head 1/4 inch, and I didn't want to pay the snap-on price, so got this on Amazon. I think it was 40 or 50 bucks. Nice little ratchet. This guy is a Tecton. This is another Tecton. That's a 3/8 stubby. This one is another tone. This one is a 1/4 inch body with a 3/8 head. And then I'll start from left to right. This long one is an Astro Nano. This is the their long version. I got the short version as well. These are actually really nice ratchets for the $20 they are. If I can, very fine tooth, really nice little ratchet for 20 bucks. If I can get it in there. Koken, this is the 24 tooth one. Super smooth, nice little ratchet. That's more of a collector item for me. Snap-on gear wrench, XP 120, Tecton, snap-on. Oh, this is the other Astro, shorter one. And then this one is another gear wrench 120, but the older style. And these are all, this whole lineup is 1/4 inch. Hiding in the back, I've got a Pittsburgh Pro 3/8 and then another Pittsburgh Pro 3/8. Snap-on 3/8, snap-on 3/8 flex head, another tone, another Koken, again the knurled handle, more of a collector's item, and then of course the 90 tooth Koken. I need to get a 1/4 inch one, but currently on Amazon, just because it's Amazon Canada, and a 1/4 inch is like stupid expensive, so I just don't feel like spending the money. And then this guy, what is this one? I think this is, oh yeah, this is just a gear wrench, 84 tooth, 1/2 inch. And then the only other thing I forgot to touch on is this is a snap-on, just a click style 1/2 inch torque wrench for doing tires, and in case I ever have to do suspension or anything like that. Other top drawer, this is mostly just kind of personal stuff, random stuff. I just bought a mil thickness gauge. That's for just checking the thickness of material on panels. Got a couple spreaders in here and squeegees, plastic sticks. If you're doing Autobody, you cannot have enough plastic sticks. This tool, this is a Lyle tool. This has been my new favorite. This is actually kind of replaced the plastic sticks just because this end is so thin. You can really get like little trim pieces off of the door panels without marring them up because this is so thin on the end. Got some of those mini snap-on pry bars, which I don't think I've ever used. If I use anything, it's just my little mini pocket screwdriver. Oh, that's a paint stir stick. This is another one of those super thin trim tools. This one's a Blue Point. Couple scrapers in here for scraping urethane beds, paint markers, Sharpies, box cutter, couple lights. I've got a couple braces in there for my elbow if I'm doing a lot of sanding, and then just some blowguns. Power drawer. Everything in here has stayed the same. I don't know. I think this might be new. This is the Milwaukee heat gun. It sucks. Don't buy it. Little Milwaukee drill. I've got the other bigger drill. It's brushless, and then I've got a 1/2 inch mid torque, the 3/8 stubby, which I've said before is my absolute favorite tool ever. Like, that's all I use now to take bumpers off, is that 3/8 stubby and the impact wobble sockets. It's got tons of power, works for everything. I've even taken box bolts out with it before. Oh, actually, my snap-on 1/4 inch electric ratchet is still going after all these years. I did have to take it apart once because it quit working, and it turns out one of the wires busted off the trigger, so I soldered it back on, and it's been good ever since. This is like, oh boy, like fabricating drawer. I've got an air drill that hasn't been used. That's just the Jet brand and forever. These are thin wrenches. This is a Blue Point right angle drill, Blue Point die grinder, Blue Point cutoff tool. These are both Ingersoll 102 or 103, 302B. is the part number. These are my favorite die grinders. I actually like them way better than even this big snap-on one, which does not seem to have a lot of power. Don't know where the model number is, but I paid like 400 bucks for this stupid thing and I don't like it. I should have just bought another one of these because they just, I don't know, it just seems better, especially for only being $100. You cannot go wrong with it. Ingersoll air hammer, this is the cheap one. This is only like the $50 one. It's not great, but I don't usually have to do a lot of air hammering, so it's okay. Wire wheels, just some consumable flap discs and stuff in there. Consolidated all my punches and chisels into these little plastic bins. Oh, I should mention, I found these little bins on Amazon. I don't remember what they're called. If you're really interested, leave a comment and I will look back on my order history and get you a number for those, because they have been super handy. I've used them everywhere and they've taken up, like, they gave me a lot of extra room in organizing this toolbox, so that's good. These are just drill bits. These are, that's an 8-piece carbide burr set from Snap-on. Spot weld cutter, got some step bits in there, and then the common size drill bits for drilling out spot welds, and for drilling holes, like for new spot welds, just the 2 common sizes. This is an Astro cutoff tool. This thing is actually really cool also. If you don't have any Astro air tools, I would highly recommend them. I've also got a palm sander and or 2 palm sanders, and they're amazing, especially, again, given the price. They're really, really good. Got a little Ingersoll saw. Snap-on, these are like mini files. These are really nice. I've had those forever. I got a couple icon things in here. That's just a random scraper. Got the gear wrench, adjustable pry bars. This is called a seam buster. It's for once you drill all your spot welds out, you'll put that in the seam and hammer it, and that'll split the panel away from what you're working on. A couple tape measures, and then just air hammer bits, some long punches, these alignment bars. That's about it for that one. Oh, here's another drawer where I use those little bins a lot. Just, again, random consumables. Got some heat shrink, my torch, just wiring stuff, random things. These are also new. If you don't have a pair of these are cheap, and the reason why I bought a set here is because I have a set out at the farm and I use these things all the time. I wouldn't want to say every day, but anytime I need to cut something, I use these, and they're amazing and they're cheap, so grab a pair of those. Vice grip drawer has not changed, I don't think. You need tons of vice grips, again, if you're changing panels, roof skins, whatever. You got to be able to clamp everything. One random C-clamp. I've got some like radiator hose clamps. These are for doing like the spring clamps. These will, hold it open. This drawer is kind of useless. I've got, again, just random stuff in this one. Tool organizers, mask, some paint suits, lots of microfibers. Oh, I forgot about this. And this was an impulse buy that I didn't really need, but I wanted, so I bought it. Capri, extra long double box end. Have not used them yet, but I have them, and these are just super cool. Super nice tools. Really like Capri. Good, cheap, affordable, but good quality tools, so check them out if you haven't. Kind of more random stuff. Brushes, got a couple like channel lock pliers. This little thing I got off the Snap-on truck, I use it for pulling windshield wipers. Now, I probably could have found a cheaper one on Amazon, but I never thought of using one of these to pull windshield wipers before, and it happened to be on the truck one day, and I was like, well, I have to have it, because if you've ever taken off windshield wipers, they can be a real pain in the ass. But that was way too much money. That's what brand that is. Don't buy that brand because it's expensive, and you can probably get one on Amazon for 20 bucks. tire fillers. Oh, I got some feeler gauges in there. These are long Torx. I believe these are gear wrench. They don't fit in the top drawer, so they're just, you know, that's fine in there. Oh boy, another, yeah, this is also a bit of a collection. Pliers drawer. Too many pliers. Lots of snap-on wire stripping tools. Oh, these are new. These are the OTC. These are a 90-degree one. These are cool. I've got some Blue Point ratcheting ones. Back there, I've got some flush cuts. Those blue ones are Sonata. I've got some Nipex, like dikes. Snap-on flush cuts right here, which I wish I didn't buy because they were like $100, and these were 25, and they do the same thing, and they're actually better because they're angled. These are very nice. Snap-on dikes. These are the Icon like triple slip joint. I'm not getting them out of there. They're wedged in. I didn't want to buy the snap-on ones, and I have the smaller snap-on ones, and I really like them, but I just thought I'd get the Icon bigger ones because I don't use them that much. Yeah, oh yeah, these ones. These are probably my favorite, and these would be my most used size, just for getting in tight spots. Same with needle nose. Typically I'm using like something this size and not this size. Typically I'm using the smaller one, just gets in tighter areas. And usually it's just to like pinch plastic clips together. It's not usually putting too much force on things. Got some Van Plier stuff. Some cheap Mastercraft. These are, I think this is another Canadian thing, I'm not sure. Signet. Had these for a while. I was at the store one day, or one of the tool stores, and they had them on the shelf and they were cheap, so I picked them up. Nipex, Cobras, of course, the Raptors right here, which I never use, haven't found a use for them. These long dikes right here are Tecton, I believe. More Harbor Freight, Icon. These pistol grip pliers are really cool. Found these on Amazon randomly. They are made in USA, Proto, but they were only $20, but the jaws, I guess they don't look too bad on camera, but I don't know. There's a big space there. Maybe that's normal. I'm not sure. I don't think it is. They were cheap, but I just bought them because they were made in USA. Oh, of course, these snap-on. Everybody's seen these. Again, this is the smaller size. Not this. This is probably the medium size. Don't really have a use for the big one, so didn't buy them. I've been looking for the Icons, but they never ever seem to have them in stock. Oh, I should talk about these stupid things too. These Easy Red, don't buy. I mean, you can buy these, but look at the jaws. Look at how crooked those are. Why are they so crooked? I don't know. I don't think I've used them yet. They were cheap, but like, man, those are some crooked ass jaws. Soldering torch, that's a Weller. Underneath it, nothing of importance. Some old air tools, old Blue Point 1/4-inch air ratchet, old Ingersoll 3/8 right-handed, right angle impact, can't remember what they're called. Got a temp gun, got my Snap-on MG 725, which rarely sees use. Got my 3M primer gun, which also doesn't see any use anymore because we switched over to these tips. So if I want to use my own, which I like having my own just because I keep my things clean. Typically primer guns are not kept very clean, but I can't use that anymore unless I get the old style tips. So screwdriver drawer, again, kind of a collection. Too many screwdrivers. I don't need this many, but I have them. Tecton hard handles. I tried to snap up a few of these because they were switching over to the like German made ones, whatever they are, the soft handles, and I really like these hard handles, so I got a set of two, just the two of them, just a flathead and a long Phillips. Snap-on Torx, random Mastercraft, Robertsons. I just have them just in case something is held together with deck screws, which, believe it or not, isn't the most uncommon thing ever. Flathead screwdrivers. I bought these because I beat on my flat screwdrivers, and these have a striking cap, and they were cheap. So those are nice little screwdrivers. Number 1 and number 2 snap-on Phillips. I've got the Vessel, this, I think it's the Mega Door set. Again, striking cap on the back, really nice. Screwdrivers, really nice having JIS. Even though things might not be made in Japan, I swear the screws they use are JIS, because I'll use my snap-on screwdriver or my old Craftsman, and it wants to round the head out, so having JIS is nice. These are Craftsman. I don't know if those are made in USA or not. I've had those for quite a while. More Icon. These are the mini Torx set. I've got a full set of snap-on cabinet screwdrivers, which again, that was a bad purchase, but I just wanted some long screwdrivers, and they happened to be on sale, and it was a long time ago, and I think they were maybe $160, and there's a lot of them in the set, so it's not the worst thing ever, but just don't use them that much. Nut drivers, again, don't really hardly use those. I only have the 2 snap-on ones because the Mastercraft didn't come with them. That's a 7 and that's a 13. These mini Blue Point pliers, could do without those. Don't really use those much. Shoved all my tiny little like precision Mastercraft screwdrivers in here. Don't really use those, but I don't know, I've had to like lend them to people. One of the guys in the shop wears glasses and he needed one, so it's whatever. I have them in there just in case. These little Blue Point ratchets are really, really nice. I know, of course, there's better ones out there now, you know, Vim and stuff like that. This one's actually a Vim, but this one's very, very tiny. Haven't used it. Saw it on Amazon. Wanted to try it because I didn't have anything Vim, so just bought that little guy to try out. Oh boy, trim tools. Yep, there's too many trim tools in here. Lots of snap-on. I got the 3-piece set, like with these 2, and then this long one comes in the set. Just picked this one up on like Friday or Thursday. This is the long one, but it's got the flat end on it, which that's actually going to be very handy, because just about every time I use this thing in like a confined space, I end up needing it to be flat and not angled, because you can't wedge it in. So that was a good buy. These were probably not a good buy. These are the hose picks. These are the like the mini ones. So here's the big ones. And it's not even that I'm going to necessarily use them for hoses. It's just having this rounded curved end is really handy for a lot of things. Like, I probably could have just bought that one separate and not bought this one, but whatever, it's fine. More trim tools. This one's this one's S-Tech. This is kind of nice, although I've replaced it with this Astro. This has turned into my new favorite. Again, super slim jaw. You can really get under clips and save them. And then if you're dealing with like Christmas tree clips, you can actually cut them with these jaws. So again, for like 20 bucks, these have become my new favorite trim tool. A couple Blue Points. The one Mastercraft tool that I don't hate, although the handle is getting like weird and greasy. I might have to try and find a different one. I use this for getting these weather stripping clips. I'm not gonna fully show you, but like these weather, where can I find a clip? Oh, there's a clip. So just because this tool is so thin and just the way it's shaped, you can get in there and individually poke the 2 tabs that actually hold the clip, you know, in the hole. So that's the only thing I ever use this tool for, and I actually use it quite a bit. But like I said, the handle, these Mastercraft tools, man, the handle is like getting greasy, which is weird because I've never had greasy hands while using this, so I don't know why it's doing that, but just think because it's a really cheap tool. These are blue points. These are useful, mostly just door panels, ones that are like clipped in and not the lift style. They're usually, sometimes you can get lucky and wiggle them, but more often than not you have to like wedge something plastic in there. Like you gotta wedge something plastic, get you a gap between the door panel and the door, and then use that tool to bust the clip free. These are also super handy. That you probably haven't seen that much unless you do body work or work at a body shop. These are for belt moldings, which are these moldings right here. So once you got the window out, sometimes you can do it with a window in. You stick this tool in, you lift up to try and, because these are usually like hooked in, so you lift up and then you pry out, unhook it. If you don't have these, you're gonna break the belt molding, and they're not cheap. Snap-on picks. These are the long, come on. Okay, oh, I'm leaving that in there. So these are the long picks, and then underneath are the O-ring picks. More Tecton hard handle. Love these things. Again, cheap, affordable, hard handle, very stiff, feel very good in your hand. I've had these snap-on ones. These were one of the first snap-on tools I bought, and I just thought it was time for a new pick. I think that end used to be, on the snap-on used to look like the Tecton, but that's literally how long I've had it. Haven't broken it, haven't bent it, just time for something new. So picked up the smaller Tecton set. I know they have a great big one, but as you can see, I'm running out of room in here. These are plastic snap-on trim tools. Again, wish I didn't get those. These are some little metal, like precision, super tiny tools, and then just some cheap tweezers. One more Icon pick here that came in a kit, and then these are snap-on like picks. Actually, the most used is probably this guy. I think it's supposed to be for cotter pins, but again, in this line of work, you can never have too many picks. And then the last pick is this. There was a 2-piece snap-on. Again, these are radiator hose picks, but typically I don't use them for that. If I'm going to use a radiator hose pick, it's going to be the ones with the flat end, just so I don't wreck anything. Oh no, get in there. Okay, wrench drawer. This looks a million times better, and I've upgraded just about all my Canadian Tire like Mastercraft wrenches in here, except for these standards, because I don't ever use standard. Picked up a Baco adjustable, couple Canadian Tires, little pipe wrench. In the back, those are just standard, those are Mastercraft. Up here are the Blue Point reversible ratcheting wrench set. Oh, these ones are Tecton. These are like the double-ended, different, size on each end, 11 and 9. Those are nice. These are a new purchase. These are the Olsa stubby ratcheting. These weren't super cheap, but I wanted a set of stubby ratcheting wrenches with the flex on them. And I've heard good things about Olsa, so I figured I'd give those a try. Got the standard and metric. These are Tecton fixed head ratchet wrenches, stubbies. And then back here, I picked this set up. These are really cool. These are the Proto, and I bought these because Torque Test Channel tested these, and they tested very high, and they're cool because they're black, and they didn't cost me $1,000 or more like a snap-on set would. And then here, these I splurged on. These are the snap-on reversible ratcheting wrenches. The reason I splurged on these is because I used my Blue Point ones all the time, and I just wanted something with a finer ratcheting mechanism. And I also wanted, these are also the Flank Drive Plus, and I didn't want a main set of wrenches to be Flank Drive Plus, so I bought, you know, figured I'd get the ratcheting wrenches and the Flank Drive and have both. Hammer drawer. Okay. Oh, this is a little Tecton 1/4 inch torque wrench, gear wrench, 3/8. Just these are both just click styles. I think they're both flex heads too. I know the gear wrench is for sure. Just about every snap-on body hammer you can get. The demolition kind of pry bar screwdriver thing. This one is a Martin. This was an Amazon purchase just because it's got a super long pick end on it. The only other useful Canadian Tire tool, which would be this little, like, I think it's a 2.5 pound sledge. Had this thing forever. That's a nice little hammer. I got just some cheap Sunex pry bars in here. Dollies. This is a oh boy. Oh, this is a toe dolly. God, I can't think. Toe dolly, general purpose, and then these are heel dollies. This is a steel one, and this one's rubber for doing door skins. This is, I don't remember what this is called. This has a specific name, but it's basically just a dolly on a stick. And then that is a spoon. Those are both from Snap-on. Got the Est-Wing 3-pound sledge. Got a rubber mallet. 2 more pry bars here. Oh, I wish I would have bought a whole set of these and not just the one, because these, I love this handle. And you can't get them anymore. But I have the one, and that's kind of a common, probably the most common size I would use. Another Martin. This is a door skin hammer. Again, didn't want to pay Snap-on like $140 for a door skin. Actually, I think the door skin hammers might even be more. So that was like $60 or $70. This big one is also a Martin. That was a mispurchase. I thought it was going to have a regular sized head on it and not a massive one. I don't know if you can tell how big that is, so I have not used that. I thought it was going to be like the same size as this. Whoops. A couple, these are just Power Fist ball peen hammers. Power Fist little dead blow. My one Snap-on ball peen, again, kind of regret purchasing that. This one's a 24 ounce. I don't remember how much it was, but it was over $100, and that's just too much for a hammer. So kind of wish I wouldn't have bought that, but what do you do? I have it, and I'm not going to get rid of it. Last drawer. Oh boy. Sanding blocks. All of them. Every sanding block. I've got a kit from Lucky Blocks. I haven't used these a bunch, but if I was doing restoration, I would, mostly because you need 2 hands to hold on to these things, and a lot of the time, like, I don't know, working in awkward spots, you can really only use one hand, but these are very cool. I've got some Durablocks, a full kit of Durablocks. Of course, the 3M yellow blocks, kit of big kid blocks. I'm a little disappointed in the big kid blocks. I'll show you why. That is a bubble, and that's a problem because that creates a bump in the sanding block. This one doesn't really have it, but some of the ones I have are really, really bad. This one I actually had to cut the chunk out because there was such a huge bubble, and I just put some fine line tape around to make up the gap. But that's a problem because when you're blocking and you have that big bubble there, it's going to make your bodywork not straight. So I've been kind of disappointed with the big kid blocks. I don't think I would buy them again. This one I reached out to warranty, and they actually just, well, they didn't send me a block. They sent me the Velcro, and I had to peel the Velcro off, try and get the glue off, which was a hassle. Kind of wrecked the, I didn't wreck the block, but it just looks crappy on the outside now because I had to use thinner and try and scrape it, and oh boy, it was a nightmare. But this one was also really bad, and I really love this block. I like these money makers the best just because of the handles, and they're so lightweight. This is actually probably my favorite one. Again, you can see the bubble there. It's not so much of a big deal because it's on the corner. And yes, I know they're hook it. Yes, we use Velcro here. I would probably switch to stick it, but the shop that I work at uses Velcro, so you know, everybody in the shop isn't going to just change because I want to use stick it. I'm not buying my own sandpaper, so that's what it is. And then I've also got a kit of these, not a kit, I've just have a couple of these linear blocks. These are my new favorites, just because they're done so much better than the big kid blocks. I have not found a single air bubble or anything wrong with these. They have a nice flex. That one's a little more flexible than this guy. You can also get, I think the other ones I have are rigid, like just a straight up tube and no cuts in it. And then, yeah, there's just some more of the linear blocks. There's like some soft sanding blocks under there. Oh, it's the same as those ones, just longer. Oh yeah, this is broke on me twice. Once I glued it and it worked, and then I kind of just sick of it, so it's still broken, and here it sits. The one thing that is really nice actually are these mini blocks. These I'll give them credit for. If you're doing a tiny little dent or trying to keep, you know, and you're trying to keep a repair really small, these are, I mean, look at how tiny that is. Those are handy. And it's pretty hard to screw up and get bubbles on something so tiny, so those have been good. Big blocks, like the long ones, not impressed with, not happy with them. They cost a lot of money, and the fact they have bubbles in them makes them basically unusable, so that's not great. Just gonna dig these out, show you better. Snap-on air sander, I've had this one for quite a while. I believe this one is a 3/16. Yeah, this one will be a 3/16 throw, which is more aggressive. And then I bought this Astro because it's a 3/32 throw, and that is less aggressive. So just depending on the manufacturer, some vehicles have paint that's just hard to feather out, and that's usually due, like, I'll give an example of Dodge, like 4th gen Dodge trucks. The sealer underneath the clear coat and the base coat, the sealer on those trucks is so, and probably cars too, I can't remember working on cars or SUVs, but the trucks are so thick. It's so hard to feather that out nicely with an aggressive sander. So I thought I would buy this to give it a try, see if it works better. I've used it a couple times. I mean, it's a great sander. I just haven't really found too much of a use for it yet. It is actually a huge difference. It's very noticeable going from the 3/16 to the 3/32 throw. This is way less aggressive. This would actually be good if you're training someone like on prepping and you don't want them to burn through panels. Get a 3/32 sander and let them go at it, because they won't burn through, because it's very noticeable. And then this is just a little 3-inch Astro. Bought this because we've been doing nothing but repairing roofs, because we had a huge hailstorm a couple years ago, and some of the ribs on the roofs are too narrow to get your regular 6-inch sander in between. So I bought a little 3-inch. This is also a 3/32. I wish actually this was a 3/16, but I don't think they make a 3/16 throw. Because it does take quite a bit of sanding to actually like prep the panel properly with that, but it is what it is. It's better than hand sanding or trying to dig at it with a 6-inch. And then this is just a Ingersoll dual action. So I hear people say all the time that, they're looking for a DA, or they want a DA, or they don't. I feel like people don't know the difference between a DA and a palm sander. So a DA, dual action, that's what DA means. Whoops, sorry. So you see how it's got that weight there? That's the orbiting, that's the random orbit. Well, you can lock this. And I think I can do it one-handed. No, maybe I can't. Hang on a second. Okay, you can lock a dual action sander so that this is not a random orbit. This just spins. It does not oscillate, it just spins in a circle. And what that'll do is let you grind paint off. You cannot feather edge with a dual action sander on grind mode. And honestly, they're pretty aggressive when they're unlocked. Like, I would never try and feather edge out, you know, something before I was gonna prime it or whatever with this. I just wouldn't. It's too aggressive. This is good for stripping paint. It's good for stripping paint. And if you're doing a large repair, you know, let's say if you were repairing an area like that big, you know, you'd want to strip the paint off so you can, you know, pull the dent out, whatever. So what I would use is I would use this, because I'd use this with 80 grit. That's not too aggressive. It's not going to take metal down. It's going to be perfect, and it's going to strip faster, way faster, 10 times faster than this. This is another option. This is an Ingersoll. Again, this is a fixed, this is a grinder. That's like 40 or 36 grit on there. That's typically if you're doing restoration work. I wouldn't use that on, you know, just your everyday vehicle, because the metal is just too thin. Even though these green, like, you can get away with it because these green pads really suck and they won't like hog metal off like the these 3M Cubitron discs. If you gave this to someone and they didn't have any experience and they didn't know, you could very easily grind a hole through metal with these. That's how good these work. These are also 3M. I think they're like Green Corps. They suck. They clog up. They suck. But it is more aggressive than this with 80 grit. And if you're doing a big, you know, old car or something, you're doing a hood, a roof, you're doing the quarter, whatever, you got to strip a lot of paint. This is better to use. It's faster. But that's the difference anyway between a dual action and a palm sander. If you're gonna do a lot of body work, I mean, for what they cost, buy both. This was like $80. Now this was, I don't know, probably 10 years ago, but this was like 80 bucks. Again, don't buy a Snap-on one. This is too much money. This was like $400 or $500 for this palm sander. The Astro, if I had to do it again, I'd buy an Astro. It was like 150 or something. It's ridiculous, and it's a really, really good quality. It feels nice. It just works. It feels better actually than the Snap-on. So you don't need to spend a shitload of money, but get both if you're going to be doing this a lot, because you need to have both. It's going to make your life just easier. Anyways, that's my rant. Now I'm done. And that's the toolbox. Lots of new tools. I didn't really touch on everything. You can, if you want, watch both videos and you can see all the new stuff. It's mostly organization, and you know, all these little bins, different socket organizers. These are big Olsa, like the big trays. Oh, what are these? These are SJW, I think his name is. He 3D prints these. These are super cool. And then, of course, like I didn't touch on the wrench drawer, but these bigger ones right here, these are Tekton or Ernst. You know, they're either way. It's the same exact thing. And then these smaller ones are Toolbox widget, and I had to get the Toolbox widget because it's such a narrow beam that they would not fit in the Tektons, and they actually barely fit, you know, in here. They're kind of sitting up. But everything's up, everything's organized. I fit a lot more, probably twice the wrenches that I had in this drawer. And then, yeah, all the little bins and stuff. You know, this drawer would be a disaster if I didn't have those. So yeah, that's it. That's the toolbox. Yeah, see you again in 5 years when I have another update.